Hello everyone, welcome back to Popcorn in Bed. October is over. This is my first official non-scary movie and I feel like I can take a deep breath and I'm excited about it. I did not hate October by any means, but it was just high stress, up here. Not only just watching scary movies, but just the month. The month is so busy and all the class parties and like 6 different costumes for each child for different neighborhood parties. And I mean, it's all good things, but it's just, I'm happy it's over. And I'm happy to be in November, which is a cozy month. I love the burrs, October, November, December. So I am excited. And this is, I hope, a start of our Tender November movies. So we have quarterly Patreon pop quiz trivia nights, and patrons, and this last time, all patrons, even free patrons, got to participate. It was our biggest turnout yet. It was so fun. If you love movie trivia, this is a super fun night. So our winner historically not only gets Amazon gift cards, but they get to submit 5 movies of their choosing that I have not seen to me, and sometimes I just pick them, sometimes we poll them on Patreon, but like it's kind of fun that a lot of patrons have these 5 movies that they would suggest for me in the back of their heads, and I love to hear people's lists. And this time our winner was Stick Figure Studios. He's been a longtime patron and friend of the channel, so it was fun to see him win. He is a cinephile to be sure. So his 5 picks were City Lights 1931, Citizen Kane 1941, Midnight Run 1988, The Fisher King 1991, and Big Fish 2003. So I tried to pick pretty blindly without really knowing anything, but I know Big Fish has been suggested a ton on the channel. The artwork is cute on the cover, and I know people are like, oh, you're just picking the most recent, but I am just going by what I've seen suggested. It was kind of between Midnight Run and Big Fish for me. I'm hoping to get to all of these, of course, at some point, but tonight we're watching Big Fish, so all I know about it, actually I didn't know this when I picked it, and this might have swayed me, is that it's Tim Burton, which I haven't historically loved Tim Burton movies on the channel, but this is one that I have been assured that I will like, or at least more, so I'm going out with that. I have no clue the genre, the characters, actors, nothing, so I'm going in super blind, which is always the most fun, and I'm excited to watch this with you guys. If you want to join us for our next trivia and just be a part of the Patreon community, that's right here. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell. Carly and I started a podcast called Popcorn to Go. It's movies, pop culture, life, sister stuff. So go check that out. We're on YouTube and all the podcast listening platforms, and we would love to have you subscribe. Okay, here we go. Let's watch Big Fish. I did look it up. Is it fantasy? Is that the genre? I'm trying to remember now. Guys, I swear there was a song or a band or something in the 90s called Big Fish. Like when I see that cover and I hear the title, it triggers something for me. I cannot figure it out.
There are some fish that cannot be caught. It's not that they're faster or stronger than other fish. They're just touched by something extra. One such fish was the Beast, and by the time I was born, he was already a legend. Some said that fish was the ghost of a thief who drowned in that river 60 years before. Others claimed he was a dinosaur left over from the Cretaceous period. I didn't put any stock into such speculation or superstition.
Oh.
All I knew was I'd been trying to catch that fish since I was a boy, and on the day you were born, well, that was the day I finally caught him. I was gonna have to use something he truly desired.
Your finger?
Gold.
The beast jumped up and grabbed it before he even hit the water. And just as fast, he snapped clean through that line. My wedding ring, the symbol of fidelity to my wife, soon-to-be mother of my child, was now lost.
What did you do?
I followed that fish upriver and downriver. The whole time we're calling it a him, when in fact it was a her.
Hey, that's the guy from
I could gut
The
that fish and
Storyteller.
get my wedding ring back.
Oh, darling, it's still your night.
Why did it strike so well on gold?
Okay, he's from the morning show. He's also from Almost Famous.
Sometimes the only way to catch an uncatchable woman is to offer her a wedding ring.
Which never happened, incidentally. You were selling novelty products in Wichita the day I was born.
Come on, Will, everyone loves that story.
Not after 1,000 times. For one night in your entire life, the universe did not revolve around Edward Bloom.
I'm sorry to embarrass you.
You're embarrassing yourself. After that night, I didn't speak to my father again for 3 years. We communicated indirectly, I guess. In her letters and Christmas cards, my mother would write for both of them. And when I'd call, my mom would say Dad was out driving or swimming in the pool. The truth is, I didn't see anything of myself in my father, and I don't think he saw anything of himself in me.
Why is it the cutest thing ever?
In telling the story of my father's life, it's impossible to separate fact from fiction, the man from the myth. The best I can do is to tell it the way he told me. It doesn't always make sense, and most of it never happened.
Ewan McGregor. Love him.
Give me back my ring!
That is one big fish.
But that's what kind of story this is. And as strange as his stories got, the endings were always the most surprising of all.
Oh, no! Slippery little fella.
Are we?
She's the Inception girl.
It's your mother.
And what does Dr. Bennett say? No, sure, I'll talk to him. It's more than they thought. They're gonna stop chemo.
You need to go.
Probably tonight.
On the mom or the dad?
Now, which one's it gonna be? Monkey in a barn or dog in a road?
The one about the witch.
Your mama says I can't tell you that one anymore.
Well, I'm not scared.
Well, neither was I at first.
He's such a storyteller.
There were 5 of us out there that night. Most towns of a certain size have a witch.
Is it true she got a glass eye? I heard she got it from gypsies. What's a gypsy? Your mama's a gypsy.
Your mama's a bitch.
Yet of all the witches in Alabama, there was one who was said to be the most feared, for she had one glass eye which was said to contain mystical powers.
I heard if you look right at it, you'll see how you're gonna die.
She's not even a real witch. You're so sure. Why don't you go on and get that eye? I heard she keeps it in a box on that table.
Oh, are we talking to a real human? Don't leave him. Bad luck.
Ma'am, my name's Edward Bloom, and there's folks I can see your eye.
That was,
I brought it. Let's see it. I was thinking about death and all. On one hand, if that was all you thought about, it could kind of screw you up. But it could kind of help you, couldn't it? Because everything else, you could survive. I guess I'm saying I'd like to know. Oh, that's how I go.
they didn't show us that one. Helena Bonham Carter, that's her name. I was trying to think of the name she played in Harry Potter. I cannot.
Is that Dr. Bennett's car?
Oh, yes, he's up with your father now. He won't eat, and because he doesn't eat, he gets weaker.
How much time does he have left?
You don't talk about that.
They haven't talked. You know, I know, like, Johnny Depp is Tim Burton's muse or whatever. He just has him in a lot of movies. But I can totally see how this guy is Johnny Depp adjacent. Features, mannerisms. Oh.
Dad?
You are in for a surprise. Having a kid changes everything. There's the diapers and the burping and the midnight feeding.
Did you do any of that?
No. You spend years trying to corrupt and mislead this child, fill his head with nonsense, and still it turns out perfectly
You
fine.
think I'm up for it?
You learn from the best.
Just drink half the can. I'll tell Mom you drank the whole thing. Everyone wins.
Not my time yet. This is not how I go. You saw it in the eye.
The old lady by the swamp.
I saw my death in that eye, and this isn't how it happened.
So how does it happen?
Surprise ending. Wouldn't want to ruin it for you.
He's so cute.
I was hoping we could talk about some things while I'm here. I just want to know the true versions of things, events, stories.
Now, your mother hasn't been keeping up the pool. If she wanted to, you could fix it.
Yeah, I will.
You know where the chemicals are?
I used to do it when you were gone, remember?
There was never much for being at home well. And this here, being stuck in bed, dying is the worst thing that's ever happened to me.
I thought you said you weren't dying.
I said, this isn't how I go. The last part is much more unusual. Trust me on that.
The drawl. Oh, he didn't drink very much. Couldn't they give him IV?
Dr. Bennett said I have to stay at home for a week.
Once I had to stay in bed for 3 years.
Did you have the chicken pox?
I wish. No one quite knew what was wrong. Most times a person grows up gradually. Well, I found myself in a hurry. My muscles and my bones couldn't keep up with my body's ambition. So I spent the better part of 3 years confined to my bed, with the encyclopedia being my only means of exploration.
Kept in a small bowl, the goldfish will remain small. With more space, the fish will grow double, triple, or quadruple its size.
After all, a giant man can't have an ordinary sized life. And as soon as my bones had settled in their adult configuration, I set upon my plan to make a bigger place for myself in Ashton.
As soon as my bones had settled. Bloom Landscaping. Who's that guy? Oh.
I was the biggest thing Ashton had ever seen, until one day, a stranger arrived.
Like he said, you can't tell if it's fact or fiction.
That's enough. Mr. Mayor, he ate an entire cornfield.
You ain't gonna stop him, Mayor. We will.
Now, someone tried talking to him.
You can't reason with him.
He's a monster.
I'll do it.
Edward Bloom.
I'll talk to him, see if I can get him to move on. Hello? My name is Edward Bloom, and I want to talk to you.
Go away.
I think I'm starting to see the fantasy part of this.
Armed with the full knowledge of my own death, I knew the giant couldn't kill me.
Why are you here?
So you can eat me. The town decided to send a human sacrifice, and I volunteered. My arms are a little stringy, but there's some good eating in my legs. I mean, I'd be tempted to eat them myself. If you could just get it over with quick, because I'm not much for pain, really.
What is this creature?
Come on, I can't go back. I'm a human sacrifice. I'd rather be dinner than a coward.
I don't want to eat you. I don't want to eat anybody. I'm so hungry. I'm just too big.
Oh.
You ever think that maybe you're not too big? But maybe this town is just too small? Now, I've heard in real cities they've got buildings so tall you can't even see the tops of them.
Really?
And all-you-can-eat buffets?
What?
You're just trying to get me to leave, aren't you?
What's your name, Giant?
Carl?
Coral?
I do want you to leave, Carl. But I want to leave with you. I mean, you think this town is too small for you? Well, it's too small for a man of my ambition. Okay. Now, first, we got to get you ready for the city.
Giant.
Edward Bloom, first son of Ashton, take with you this key to the city and know that anytime you want to come back, all our doors are open to you.
When does he get obsessed with the fish?
But there was one person whose counsel I held above all others. She said that the biggest fish in the river gets that way by never being caught.
I think it's Roy. I think it's Roy from The Office.
This seemed as good a time as any to find out what lay down that old road. You go the other way, I'll cut through here and I'll meet you on the far side.
You're just trying to run away, aren't you?
Just to be sure, you can take my pack.
Radioactive spider bite?
Why, you son of a...
He's got the giant key around his neck.
Now, there comes a point when a reasonable man will swallow his pride and admit that he's made a terrible mistake. I was never a reasonable man. And what I recall of Sunday school was that the more difficult something became, the more rewarding it was in the end.
It's like Pirates Ride.
Brad! Welcome to you.
Bare feet.
Here you are right here, Edward Bloom. We weren't expecting you yet.
You were expecting me?
Not yet.
What is this place?
Same question.
The last person we had from Ashton and all the Winslow.
Poet? Whatever happened to him?
He's still here. Let me buy you a drink.
I have to meet somebody, and I'm already running late.
Now, son, I already told you. You're early.
What? Why are they smirking at him like that?
Well, everything tastes better here. Even the water is sweet. Never gets too hot, too cold, too humid. And at night, the wind goes through the trees. Well, you'd swear there was a whole symphony out there playing just for you.
Come back here!
Can't tell if this town is creepy or cute.
There is no softer ground than town.
That almost rhymes.
I agreed to spend the afternoon, if only to understand the mystery of how a place could feel so strange and yet so familiar.
I've been working on this poem for 12 years. I don't want to disappoint my fans.
Never got to Paris then. The grass so green, sky so blue. Spectre is really great. Is she naked?
I got him!
What in the actual heck?
There's leeches in there.
Did you see that woman?
What did she look like?
Well, she was,
Was she naked?
Yes, she was.
It's not a woman. It's a fish. No one ever catches her. Fish looks different to different people.
Why did they know his name on the paper?
Roses are red, violets are blue. I love Spectre.
What in the world?
Jenny thinks you're quite a cat. We all do.
what?
I said you're quite a cat.
I think I'm scared of them. What the heck?
I have to leave.
Why?
And if I were to end up here, I would consider myself lucky. But the truth is, I'm just not ready to end up anywhere.
But no one's ever left.
How are you gonna make it without your shoes?
Well, I suspect it will hurt. Now, I'm sorry, but, well, goodbye.
You won't find a better place.
I don't expect to.
Promise me you'll come back.
I promise. Someday, when I'm really supposed to.
This is mysterious.
And then I realized this wasn't the end of my life. This isn't how I died.
Friend, what happened to your shoes?
They kind of got ahead of me.
I don't know if you've seen it, but Josephine had some photos in the most recent Newsweek.
I spent a week in Morocco for this story. It was incredible.
Come on, guys.
I don't know if you're aware of this, Josephine, but African parrots in their native home of the Congo, they speak only French.
Really?
You're lucky to get 4 words out of them in English. Those parrots talk about everything, politics, movies, fashion.
Josephine actually went to the Congo last year.
Oh, so you know.
Edward Bloom.
What were you dreaming about?
Well, it's especially for tennis. Do you know what that word means? It means when you dream about something that's going to happen. Like one night, I had a dream where this crow came and said, your aunt is gonna die. I was so scared, I woke up my parents, but they said it was just a dream and to get back to bed. But the next morning, my Aunt Stacy was dead. Young boy with that kind of power. Wasn't 3 weeks later when the crow came back to me in a dream and said, your dad is gonna die.
No.
I finally told my father, but he said, oh, not to worry, but I could see he was rattled. Kept looking around, waiting for something to drop on his head, because the crow didn't say how it was going to happen. Left home early and was gone a long time. When he finally came back, he looked terrible, like he was waiting for the axe to fall all day. I just had the worst day of my life. You think you've had a bad day, she said. This morning, the milkman dropped dead on the porch because, see, my mother was banging the milkman.
Can I take your picture?
Oh, you don't need a picture. Just look up the word handsome in the dictionary.
I feel like I've heard that story, the milkman.
Mother-in-law was never supposed to marry me. She was engaged to somebody else.
So this is a tall tale.
Not a short one. I explored every opportunity that presented itself.
Ladies and gentlemen, you may think you've seen the unusual. You may think you've seen the bizarre. But I've traveled to the 5 corners of the world. I've never seen anything like this.
The dad from Matilda?
Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Colossus!
Oh, this is the greatest show. Where's our giant friend?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, drive home safely, everyone.
It was on that night Carl met his destiny, and I met mine, almost. They say when you meet the love of your life, time stops, and that's true.
The book.
What they don't tell you is that once time starts again, it moves extra fast to catch up.
What's your name?
It's Carl.
Have you ever heard the term involuntary servitude?
Nope.
Great. Here you go.
Don't you dare, Carl.
Mr. Sockybottom, come down here.
No!
Your friend just made himself a star.
Oh, that's great.
My attorney, Mr. Sockybottom.
Good to meet you.
Pleased to meet you.
I haven't seen a customer so depressed since the elephant sat on that farmer's wife. Depressed? The big guy likes it.
I just saw the woman I'm going to marry. I know it, but I lost her.
Well, most men have to get married before they lose their wives.
I'm gonna spend every day of the rest of my life looking for her. That or die alone.
Damn, kid. Reddish, blondish hair, blue dress.
Yeah.
I know her uncle.
Who is she? Where does she live?
Don't waste your time. She's out of your league.
You don't even know me.
Sure I do. You don't have a plan. You don't have a job. You don't have anything except the clothes on your back.
Well, I have a whole backpack full of clothes. Someone stole my backpack.
You were a big fish in a small pond, but this here is the ocean.
I'm gonna find that girl and marry her and spend the rest of my life with her. I don't have a job, but I would have a job if you gave me one. And I may not have much, but I have more determination than any man you're likely to meet.
It's not wrong.
I'll work night and day for you, and you won't have to pay me.
What?
You just have to tell me who she is.
Every month you work for me, I'll tell you one thing about her.
Oh my goodness.
I'd go 3 days without stopping to eat. The only thing that kept me going was the promise of meeting the girl who would be my wife.
Oh my goodness.
It's been a month today.
This girl, the love of your life, her favorite flowers are daffodils. So, you get that stuff. They're daffodils.
That doesn't help us find her.
Daffodils.
True to his word.
She's going to college.
College?
She likes music.
She likes music.
Over the months, I learned a lot about the woman I was going to marry. That time had come. I couldn't wait any longer.
Trailers are rocking.
Mr. Calloway? It's Edward Bloom. I need to talk to you.
What in the world is going on?
No, wait!
Excuse?
It was that night I discovered that most things you consider evil or wicked are simply lonely and lacking in social niceties.
Did he just get shot, though?
Didn't kill anything, did I?
A few rabbits.
That would explain the indigestion.
He's a werewolf?
I was wrong about you, kid. You may not have much, but what you got a lot of. You could get any girl.
There's only one I want.
Her name is Sandra Templeton. She goes to Auburn. Semester's almost over, so you better hurry. Good luck, kid.
Thank you, sir.
Oh.
Hey, wait. Hey.
You don't know me, but my name is Edward Bloom. I've spent the last 3 years working to find out who you are, and I've been shot and stabbed and trampled a few times. I broke my ribs twice, but it's all been worth it to see you here now and to finally get to talk to you.
I'm sorry.
You don't have to apologize to me. I'm the luckiest person you're gonna find today.
No, I'm sorry. I'm engaged to be married.
Oh.
But you're wrong. I do know you, at least by reputation. Edward Bloom from Ashton. See, I'm actually engaged to a boy from Ashton, Don Price.
Oh, it's gonna be that guy. Yep.
Well, congratulations. I'm sorry to have bothered you.
Fate has a cruel way of circling around on you. There's a time when a man needs to fight and a time when he needs to accept that his destiny's lost. The ship has sailed and that only a fool will continue. Truth is, I've always been a fool.
Sandra Templeton, I love you and I will marry you!
Supply and demand makes much more sense. The import of this will be even stronger. It will even...
Grand gestures. Where's Don Price?
Daffodils.
They're your favorite flower.
How did you get so many?
I told him it was the only way to get my wife to marry me.
It's Don. Promise you won't hurt him.
What the hell are you doing? This is my girl.
I wasn't aware that she belonged to anyone.
While I took the beating of a lifetime, it was Don Price who was ultimately defeated. Put simply, his heart wasn't strong enough.
That's how he died, like he saw.
I will never marry you.
What?
He's almost a stranger and I prefer him to you.
She is so beautiful.
As it turned out, Sandra was able to keep her same date at the chapel. Only the groom had changed.
Man, they'll tell you the story straight through. It won't be complicated. It won't be interesting either.
I like your stories.
I like you. Yeah. And it seems that while my heart belonged to Sandra, the rest of my body belonged to the U.S. government.
Come again?
A hitch in the Army was up to 3 years at that point. Took every hazardous assignment I could find with the hope of getting my time down to less than a year.
The wing.
Without a lover to call her own. Sometimes it's so bad. She wants to explode. Grab the first man she sees and tear off all of his clothes. She has wants, but she has needs. Any of you got needs? I've had twice the adventure.
Any of you have needs?
In only half the years. And now I need a man. Twice the man, 'cause baby, I've got twice the love to give.
I love his imagination. Secret plans. There's no subtitles.
We put together an elaborate plan for escape. A whaling ship to Russia, a barge to Cuba, and a small dirty canoe to Miami. And so the twins and I began a arduous journey. Unfortunately, there was no way to send a message back to America. And so it was no surprise that the Army believed I was dead. After 4 months, Sandra had gotten over the worst of the nightmares. When the phone rang, she didn't think it was somehow me calling her. When a car drove past, she didn't get up to check out the window.
I talked with your father last night. You never told me how your parents met.
They met at Auburn.
You never told me any of that.
It's because most of it never happened. Everyone loves my father. He's a very likable guy.
Do you love him?
You have to understand. When I was growing up, he was gone more than he was there. Maybe he's got his second life somewhere else. Another family, another house, and he leaves us and goes to them. And maybe there is no second family. Maybe he never wanted a family. Whatever it is, he likes his second life better. And the reason that he tells these stories is because he can't stand this boring place.
I think you should talk to him.
Did I ever tell you about...
Yes. The maple tree and the Buick? We've heard it.
I know someone who hasn't.
The tree fell on the car, spilling the syrup, which attracted the flies, which got stuck to it, off with the whole car.
You know about icebergs, Dad?
I saw an iceberg once.
Am I trying to make a metaphor here?
Shouldn't have started with a question because people want to answer questions.
The thing about icebergs is you only see 10%. The other 90% is below the water where you can't see it. What it is with you, Dad, I'm only seeing this little bit that sticks above the water. Never told me a single fact.
I've told you 1,000 facts. Well, it's what I do.
You tell lies, Dad. You tell amusing lies. And they're not elaborate mythologies that you maintain when your son is 10 and 15 and 20 and 30. I believed you. Then when I realized, of course, that everything that you said was impossible, everything, I felt like a fool to have trusted you. Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny combined, just as charming and just as fake. I'm about to have a kid of my own, and it would kill me if he went through his whole life never understanding me.
It will kill you, huh? Who do you want me to be?
Just show me who you are for once.
I've been nothing but myself since the day I was born. And if you can't see that, it's your failing, not mine.
Oh, that didn't go well.
It was during the war. Your father went missing. They thought he was dead. Not everything your father says is a complete fabrication. I think I'll go check on him.
After the war, the sons of Alabama returned home looking for work. With my prospects few, I took a job as a traveling salesman. But every other Friday, I put all the money I made into an account, set aside for a proper house with a white picket fence.
Time to tell you about my new product, the Handyman.
He would be a good salesman.
Edward, it's me, Norther Winslow.
I don't believe it.
I was astonished to see the greatest poet of both Ashton and Spectre.
It opened my eyes. There was a whole life out there that I was not living. Every day a new adventure. That's my motto.
Well, that's great, Norther. I'm happy for you.
Norther.
And what are you doing now?
I'm robbing this place. All right, everybody down! Would you mind grabbing that? What? I'm gonna be cleaning out the cash drawers, and my associate here is gonna handle the vault.
No!
Right, you help my friend, okay? Let's go!
Every day a new adventure.
There's no money. We're completely bankrupt. Don't tell anybody.
It turned out that the savings and loan had already been robbed, not by armed bandits, but by speculators in Texas real estate.
There's gotta be close to $400 here. And that's just from the drawer. Let's see what you got from the vault. This is it? The whole vault?
I'm afraid so.
Edward, it's got your deposit slip on it.
Well, I just didn't want you leaving empty-handed. The reason the savings and loans...
I told Norther about the vagaries of Texas oil money. The fiduciary process had made savings and loans particularly vulnerable. Hearing this news, Norther was left with one conclusion.
I should go to Wall Street. That's where all the money is.
When Norther made his first $1 million, he sent me a check for $10,000. I protested, but he said it was my fee as his career advisor.
Oh my gosh.
To buy my wife a proper house.
With a white picket fence.
I think we ought to get you a plant mister so we can just spray you like a fern.
Come now.
I don't think I'll ever dry out. Jennifer, what's that? Spectre! What? The witch.
Hello. Are you Jennifer Hill?
in your will.
How did you know my father?
Well, this was on his sales route, so he was through here all the time.
Were you having an affair?
Wow. Wow, you just said it. I was expecting to dance around this for another half hour.
I've seen him with women. He flirts.
No, that can't be true.
If you found this deed, why didn't you just ask Eddie?
Because he's dying.
Oh. Wait a second. You was having an affair with her?
You have one image of your father, and it'd be wrong of me to go and change it.
My father talked about a lot of things that he never did, and I'm sure he did a lot of things that he never talked about. I'm just trying to reconcile the two.
Your father never meant to end up here. Yet he did. If there's one thing you could say about Edward Bloom, it's that he was a social person and people took a liking to him. One night, he was returning from 3 weeks on the road when he hit a thunderstorm unlike any in his life.
He adored Sandra Templeton to his core, to his soul.
This town didn't seem the same now that he was older. Almost everywhere you looked, people were bankrupt.
The opening bid will be $10,000.
And so Edward Bloom decided to buy the town.
$50,000.
He had made other men rich, and now he asked for their favors.
Financial plan.
He only had Edward's words to describe it. That's all he needed. Whatever he bought, the people were not asked to leave or pay rent or anything. They were just asked to keep doing as they were doing. In that way, he could make sure the town would never die. Within 6 months, his trust had purchased the entire town, with one exception.
Her house.
You must be Edward Bloom. No one would come out here unless they're business. No one would have business with me except for you.
The door's crooked.
You buy the swamp from me, but I'll stay in it. You'll own the house, but it'll still be mine.
In so many words, yes.
Yeah, then I don't think so, Mr. Bloom.
It's not like you'll lose anything.
Why are you buying this land, Mr. Bloom?
Is he buying this land?
Helping people makes me happy.
Came back. I was just expecting you sooner.
You're Beeman's daughter.
I won't be selling you this house, Mr. Bloom.
I see. Well, thank you for your time. Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's okay, just leave it. Most men in that situation would accept their failure and move on, but Edward was not like most men.
His friend the giant.
As months passed, he found more and more things to fix until the shack no longer resembled itself.
Please don't cheat on our wife, though.
Well?
You could leave it there.
No.
Oh.
Now, don't be embarrassed. I should never have let you think that I'm in love with my wife.
I know.
And from the first day I saw her till the day I die, she's the only one. I'm sorry, Jenny. I am.
She sold him the house.
Edward Bloom left and never returned to the town he'd saved.
Now Will can't doubt it.
The common belief is that she'd become a witch, and crazy at that. She became something of a legend herself, and the story ended where it began.
Well, logically, you couldn't be the witch because she was old when he was young.
It's logical if you think like your father. There's only 2 women, your mother and everyone else. I realized I was in love with a man who could never love me back. I was living in a fairy tale. I wanted to be as important to him as you were. I was never going to be. I was make-believe. His other life, you were real.
He did or did not have an affair? I mean, that was from her point of view, and she said he didn't.
What happened?
Your father had a stroke. He's upstairs with your mom and Dr. Bennett.
Is he gonna be okay? Why don't you go home with Josephine? I'll stay tonight.
Is that okay? Well, you'll call if there's any.
I will. I'll call. Do you want some time with Dad?
Yes, thank you.
One of my greatest annoyances is when people try to talk to those who can't hear them.
Well, we have an advantage. Father and I never talk.
Your father ever tell you about the day you were born? The real story. He ever tell you that?
No.
You were born a week early, but there were no complications. Your father was sorry not to be there. And that's the real story of how you were born. Not very exciting, is it? As if I had to choose between the true version and an elaborate one involving a fish and a wedding ring, I might choose the fancy version.
I kind of liked your version.
I understand where both of them are coming from, but I just want him to love him for who he is.
Dad?
The river. Tell me how it happened. Uncle.
You mean what you saw in the eye? I don't know that story, Dad. You never told me that one.
Oh, this is heartbreaking.
Hey, okay, I'll try. I need your help. Tell me how it starts.
Like this.
It's in the morning, and you and I are in the hospital, and I'd fallen asleep in the chair, and I'd wake up, and I see you. Somehow you're better. Dad? You're different.
Let's get out of here.
And I say, Dad, you're in no condition.
Get that wheelchair.
Faster! Like we're escaping from the hospital, and
well, what are you doing?
Flying down the hall, and orderly after orderly is chasing us, and Mom and Josephine are at the end of the hall.
Water, I need water.
Where are we going?
The river.
Come on. You gonna fly off the bridge?
As we get close to the river,
He's here!
we see that everybody is already there. And I mean everyone. It's unbelievable.
The story of my life.
Bennett.
And the strange thing is there's not a sad face to be found. Everyone is just so glad to see you and send you off right.
Goodbye, everybody. Farewell, adieu. My girl in the river.
Just comes full circle.
You become what you always were, a very big fish. And that's how it happens.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh boy.
Mom.
Oh. Oh. I thought he was gonna surprise us and go off in a... Look how many people loved him. This guy from Spectre, Mr. Norther, the poet.
Have you ever heard a joke so many times you've forgotten why it's funny, and then you hear it again and suddenly it's new? You remember why you loved it in the first place.
We said he'll fight the giant who is 15 feet tall. Dad, that's right, isn't it?
That was my father's final joke, I guess. A man tells his stories so many times that he becomes the stories. They live on after him. And in that way, he becomes immortal.
That was tender.
That was a movie about storytelling, told in a beautiful storytelling way. I don't know why I'm emotional again. It just happens a lot lately, but it's about legacy, and I loved the way that Edward Bloom saw the world. And I'm so glad that in the end, his son could appreciate that. It was beautiful. It was beautiful and tender, and Tim Burton, Ron Howard called, he wants it, just kidding. It's funny because it was this fantastical story woven throughout his life, and you could totally see Tim Burton aspects, and that was part of the beautiful part, like the zany characters and even the colorful costumes and sets and towns and silliness. It reminded me of Edward Scissorhands a little bit in that way, and kind of Stardust. It makes you think, about your legacy and your parents' legacy, and made me want to sit down with my parents and have them tell me their whole life story. And you grow up hearing tidbits, but kids are always kind of just selfish too, and we just, like he was, just wrapped in his own things and world. And then you realize that they have this whole beautiful life of wisdom to share with you, and as you get older, the more you want to know about who they really are, and about what it was like for them when they were your age, and so on. But it was beautiful the way they showed all those people coming together at his funeral, and then the little kid in the pool, and he's telling his stories, and he really did live on. It was nothing like spectacular, on the edge of your seat. It was just a simple, heartwarming, tender, I hate to say it, guys, it was a beautiful, tender story. And I thought Ewan McGregor was fantastic. I thought what's his name, Billy something, and the old man, whoever is playing Edward Bloom as the older man, he was amazing. I've seen him in things, I know I have. How can you not love him? And even the supporting cast, the Steve Buscemi and the little guy, and I still don't know if he did have a second family. I don't think he did. I don't know. I'm gonna let that be a mystery in my mind. Or actually, I'm gonna let in my mind that he just saved that town and saved that woman, and then he was true to Sandra Templeton. Oh, and I loved their story. And his time in the army, and the twins, and this adventures. It kind of makes you want to romanticize your own life, Because, my life, I pick up the same 20 pillows every single day, put away the same pairs of socks, do the same loads of laundry. And like the doctor said, you can think of it in this boring, monotonous way, or you can think of it in a fun, romanticized way, Anyways, I really loved it. Thank you for the pick by Stick Figure Studios, and thank you for watching along with me. I'll see you guys next time.